Mr. Moore's math class! Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to Mr. Moore's online flip classroom. Now guys, today we've got plenty to get through. We're going to learn all about how to solve polynomial equations. So make sure that you've got yourself a pen, a paper, maybe a hot chocolate just to get through the whole video, and let's get stuck straight into the lesson. Alright guys, so solving polynomials is as easy as 3 simple steps. Now the first step is to rearrange the equation so that it's equal to 0. The next step that you're going to do is go through and make sure that you count how many different types of x you've got. For example, if you've got one type of x, you're going to have to use inverse operations in order to be able to solve it. Whereas if you've got more than one type of x, say an x squared and an x cubed and an x, then what you're going to need to do is go through and factorise in order to be able to solve. Finally, what you're going to do is go through and make each factor equal to 0 and make sure you solve each mini equation separately. So let's now go through and have a look at a worked example on how to do just this.
So as you've just seen, in order to solve polynomials we need to follow 3 steps. Now step 1 says that we need to rewrite the equation so that it equals to 0. What this means is if you've got something like this, that is 16x squared equals 4x cubed, what you need to do is rearrange it so that it equals to 0. So we move the 16x squared over, so you go 0 equals 4x cubed minus 16x squared. And that means you've then got the equation so that it equals to 0. Now step 2 says how many types of x are there. If there's one type, that is just like an x to the power of 4 or an x to the power of 3, what you need to do is use inverse operations. If you've got more than one type, you need to factorise. So that is if you've got an x cubed and an x squared, etc. And step 3 says that you need to let each factor equal to 0 and solve for x in each case. So once you've gone through and factorise, what you need to do is make each factor equal to 0 and solve for each x in each case. So now what we're going to do is have a look at a worked example of how to do just this. Alright, so the question says solve 2 bracket x plus 3 cubed plus 250 equals to 0. Now what we need to do is we need to go through and follow each step. So rewrite the equation so that it equals to 0. Well, I've actually already got that because you can see here it says equals to 0. Then what we need to do is follow step 2. How many types of x are there? Well, we look through here and we've got 1x there. Oh, wait a second, there's just the 1x. So therefore we need to follow this method here, that is use inverse operations or BODMAS to solve. So in order to do that, what we go through and do is we basically write down all of the steps that are happening to the x. So the first thing that's happening to the x is it's saying plus 3. The next thing that's happening is it's being cubed. The thing after that is it's being multiplied by 2, and then 250 is being added to it. Now what we need to do is go through and write out all the opposites. So it's minus 250, divide by 2, cube root, and minus 3. And we draw a magic arrow that goes up just like that. Now the next step is just to go through and do this. So we'll write out the equation once again. So you've got 2 bracket x plus 3 cubed plus 250 is equal to 0. Now what we need to do is subtract 250 off both sides. So let's go through and do that. We minus 250 minus 250. That's going to get us 2 bracket x plus 3 cubed is equal to negative 250. Great, I've done that step, so I just cross it off here. Now what I need to do is go through and divide everything by 2. So I go through and do that. I divide by 2 and I divide by 2. That will end up getting us the 2's cancel out. So we'll get x plus 3 cubed is equal to negative 125. Excellent, I've done that step, so I now cross it out. The next step is to cube root it. So what we need to do is go through and cube root. So I've cube rooted both sides. Now the cube root and the to the power of 3 will cancel each other out. That'll get us x plus 3 is equal to negative 5. So I cross that step out. And then the last step is to subtract 3. So what I need to do is subtract 3 from both sides. Now as you can see, the positive 3 and the negative 3 will cancel out, leaving with x is equal to negative 8. And there you go, that's how you solve a cubic that's only got one type of x. Alright, so now it's time to press pause and attempt the following question, that is 4 bracket 3x minus 1 cubed plus 500 equals 0. Now remember when you're done to press play so you can check your solutions against mine. Alright, so welcome back. Now as you can see, I've gone through and I've written out the question once again, and then what I've gone through and done is I've had a look at what's happening to the x here. Now the very first thing is it's being multiplied by 3, so I've written that over here. The next thing is it's being minus by 1, or having 1 subtracted away from it, so I've written that there. Then it's being cubed, as you can see up here, so I've written cubed. Being multiplied by 4 after that, so I've written times 4 down there. And add 500 is the last step, so you write plus 500 here. Now what we need to do is go through and write all of the opposite steps, so that is minus 500, divide by 4, cube root of x, add 1, and divide by 3. And then we draw our magic arrow going up. So the very first step was to subtract 500, so I'm going to subtract 500 off both sides, so that is subtract 500, subtract 500. That there is going to cancel it out, leaving us with 4 bracket 3x minus 1 cubed is equal to negative 500. The next step is to divide both sides by 4, so I go divide by 4, divide by 4. The 4's here will cancel out, leaving us with 3x minus 1 cubed is equal to negative 125. So I've gone through and done those two steps. Next thing is to cube root, so I'm going to cube root both sides, cube root. The cube root and the cube will cancel each other out, leaving us with 3x minus 1 is equal to negative 5, because negative 5 cubed is negative 125. So I've done that step now. What I need to do is add 1, so that's going to cancel out, leaving us with 3x is equal to negative 4. Done that step. Now what I need to do is divide by 3, so I've got divide by 3, divide by 3, the 3's here will cancel out, leaving us with x is equal to negative 4 over 3. I've just done my last step, so therefore my answer is equal to x is equal to negative 4 over 3. This means if I substitute negative 4 over 3 in for x, what I'll end up getting is an answer of 0.